when I think about monthly recurring revenue, that probably is the best place for us to start and really dig in right now, Jason, is around financial freedom, monthly recurring revenue. How, in your understanding, and when you think about it, what do docs out there need to know? Where's that knowledge gap between what they know today, where they could be in the future, and I'm going to say the keywords of financial freedom and monthly recurring revenue that tie them together? What are your thoughts on it?
What I want to do is help chiropractors really first get some perspective of where most of them are. I know there's a few of you go, well, that's not me. I'm generally speaking. I'm not speaking maybe about a few of you exceptions. I'm going to generalize. And I want to start by understanding the problem that most chiropractors have just simply accepted as reality, accepted as part of the gig. And it's sometimes a simple issue, and sometimes it's a really complex and deep life issue. But, to your point, you talk about, it wasn't long ago when, week 1, week 2, we're generating, we're going, I think we're going to hit it. Maybe you have a slow week 3, a slow week 4. And then the month is a mess financially. And then it starts creeping into your psychology. Then it starts creeping into your self-esteem. Then it starts creeping into your relationships. Then it starts creeping into your future. The problem we are solving for very specifically is what we refer to as CUFS, chronic financial stress. If you find that there's always this underlying whisper or current of, do we have enough to cover payroll? Do we have enough to cover rent? Do we have enough to cover expenses? Are we able to expand? Are we able to invest? Are we able to pay down debt? Are we able to grow the practice and invest? Are we able to donate and give out of our abundance to the causes, the institutions, the associations that we believe in, that we know are only going to help the profession in the long run? And the reality is most chiropractors are not living in that place and that space. There are exceptions. I'm not saying that there aren't successful chiropractors. There are. I am saying that most chiropractors are struggling to feel that success. And the reason I say that is because the reality that most chiropractors don't really think through is that it's not how much you earn, it's how much you keep. It's not how much that comes in, because as time goes on, more money comes in, our expenses grow magically. It just seems to always happen that way. And so however long you're in practice, it just seems that even as the income goes up, so too do the expenses go up. And oftentimes we're just living in that sometimes profitable, sometimes not, sometimes losing months, sometimes bigger months, add some sort of life crisis or some sort of unplanned financial event, and it becomes a financial struggle, which is why I continuously say that it feels for many chiropractors, I'm first to admit it, that our dream practice gets stolen by our need for money, by our need to drive a profitable business. And then we just change what we do at some point in time to just do it the easier, more profitable way, which is often very different than what we would maybe refer to as the right way or the way we would really wish we could do it. And this is true in every profession, in the medical profession, et cetera. Plenty of medical professionals would rather spend more time with their patients, learning, asking questions, and they can't. They just can't afford to do it. They have to see a certain amount of people in a certain amount of time, a certain amount of reimbursement, and they adapt themselves to the system. And then after a period of time, you get burnt out, you get frustrated, and you just go through the motions because nobody's going to go back to another school, start another career. We are in it. So we've got to make the best of it. So those are the easy issues. Let's talk about the more complex issues. Every chiropractor, and I'm going to then qualify by saying who's in a physical practice, earning their living by providing adjustments over a table, only earns a living providing adjustments over their table. Meaning, if you can't show up for work one day, or you want to go on vacation, or you get injured, or you've got something else you want to do, whatever that may be, life is a journey. And there are times you may want to take a month off and do something. There's times when, as I said, you get injured or something comes up. There are times when life happens and you want to move somewhere new. And the idea of, I've spent years building my patient base, building my practice, getting into the momentum it takes to have a constant, successful practice. And then all of a sudden, for some reason, you got to move. You want to be closer to family. You want to be closer to your kids. You want to get out of the weather, whatever the issue is. We all face these things. And I faced it. I needed to move from where I was living. The idea of starting a new practice was daunting and overwhelming. Most of us are paralyzed, have very limited options because of the way we've been running our finances, or the way we've been running our business, the way we set up our business. Now, in years past, when there was a lot of, I guess I'll call it reimbursement, I call it financial aid, but when there was a lot of third-party reimbursement that was much easier, lower deductibles, lower co-payments, less scrutiny in reimbursing for your care, then practices had a value to them. You can sort of predict on the consistency of the finances because you sort of knew that the insurance money would continue over years, and in some states better and some states worse. And you had a value to the asset called your practice. And these days it's changed. It's much more difficult. The value of a practice isn't quite the same because they become more personality based, because you're not getting paid by an anonymous insurance company and somebody who doesn't know you and have to like you in order to pay you. You just have to make sure you check the boxes and fill out your forms and you get paid. In today's world, you're actually in the people business. You actually have to give people something that they are attracted to wanting, attracting to want to make the time for, and attracted to want to pay you for. And that is a much more difficult process. Those that have been in practice for a long time will admit that. And oftentimes they're retiring early because it's just not like how it used to be. All of these issues are here that most of our profession faces, and it is going to get worse, not better. Many of you know you've been sort of advertising for new patients. Many of us, when we talk to you, you go, oh, that's great stuff you guys are doing, but I need more new patients. I don't have the time to teach my patients the truth about what I do. I got to get them in. And the one thing many chiropractors don't sort of, face up and fess up and kind of confess to is that what you would say to somebody to get them in tomorrow, the next day, this week, when they're in pain and you need the money, which is that whole immediate gratification, the message you share with somebody to say, great, yeah, we'll take care of you immediately, whether you're at a spinal screening or whatever. Yeah, sure, come in Monday. That is a very different message to a very different audience than what you would normally want to say to a general group of people who aren't just ready, motivated because of their pain to take action now. And hopefully they've got some sort of third-party reimbursement. The game, the system, the trap, whatever you want to call it, that many chiropractors have gotten into is simply because of the finances, because of the money, because of needing, rightfully so, to make sure that you cover your bills every single month and hopefully have a profit. So I want to pause for a moment. I know, it's almost a cliche, kind of almost even a bad joke. Most chiropractors, oftentimes, if they don't give back to their school, oftentimes will say, I'm not giving money back to the school. They never taught me anything about business. They never taught me anything about running a practice. They never taught me anything about making money. They got me my license. I got, some of the clinical stuff. I made a bunch of friends. But oftentimes we feel this collective resentment that the schools didn't do their job because they didn't prepare us to be successful in practice. And I hear that a lot. That's a very common thing. Well, here's what you need to know about business. One of the things we've been saying is, this book will teach you what you need to know about business that you never learned in chiropractic school. And let's break it down because it's actually really, really simple. Here it is. Every dollar you make above your expenses is your profit. Okay? It's that simple. It's that simple. Every dollar you earn above paying your expenses is your profit. And you want to generate as much profit as you want to, not as you need to, as you want to. So as we get a little deeper into, okay, what are you guys talking about? I got it. Yes, I want to have some recurring revenue. I want to have kind of an assurance policy if I ever got injured, if I was disabled, if I wanted to move, if I wanted to go on vacation for an extended period of time. Listen, worst case, let's not ignore reality. If something happened to you, where would your family get the money they need to continue to take care of themselves? If you're in a fee-for-service practice that you can't sell or transfer, this is a common occurrence. Chiropractors pass away. Their families need money to continue. This is the reality of being a chiropractor in active practice. And so you've got to get your money straight. You've got to get it handled for yourself, for your self-esteem, for a healthy relationship with your spouse, your kids, and to be able to do what you want to do, which is to provide for those that count on you to provide. And the way to do it is to understand the business model of practice, that the fee for service, being alone in your own practice, covering all of the overhead yourself, being open only the hours you're willing to be there, being closed when you go on vacation, or maybe having somebody come in. Some of you do, some of you don't. If you do, make sure you get to Chiro Matchmakers for help with that. But the key is that we do not have the freedom we deserve to be able to both be great at practice, to cover our expenses, to be able to generate the profit we want to, so we have the ability to earn revenue for something beyond being in the office, bending over a table, providing physical adjustments. It is very limiting to only earn your money that way. Now, in the past, plenty of chiropractors in the Mercedes 80s, that they called them, when the insurance was flowing, what they were taught to do by financial advisors was take the cash flow you're getting and invest it. Invest it into stocks, invest it into real estate, and invest it into other things that could generate, you ready? Monthly recurring revenue. They used to call it mailbox money, checks that only show up. Some of you did it, many of you didn't. Most of you as chiropractors are not qualified or even interested in being landlords and dealing with broken toilets and all that goes into owning property. Yes, it's a great financial way to make money, but it is not in any way aligned with your purpose, with what you do, with your skills, with your talents, with the momentum and motivation you have with your current practice. So this format, this business model will check all of your boxes because A, it is very doable. It takes an adjustment in your mindset. There's nothing we're going to teach you that any of you are going to say, that's impossible for me to do. I can't do that. You are in an excuseless environment because we will help you figure out the best form of monthly recurring revenue for you. And there's a whole variety of different options. And that's where it oftentimes gets confusing. What type of format of recurring revenue should I be generating? What's the best type of membership or subscription I should be offering? What's going to give me the best long-term benefit? What's the easiest one to get started? What's the most fulfilling? What's going to be the easiest to sell? What's the easiest to manage? What technology do I need to be able to use and do this? All of those are legitimate and important questions to ask. Some of you will be able to figure it out by just reading the book. Others of you are going to want ongoing help. This is the kind of book. Some of you, if you maybe remember, probably 10, maybe 15 years ago now, one of the books that changed our culture was a book called The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. And most of you probably heard it. He came out with other books, The 4-Hour Body, et cetera, et cetera. But The 4-Hour Workweek was really one of those kind of groundbreaking books that most of us read, and it opened our mind to this new idea of websites and email and controlling your time by being efficient, by being able to run businesses from anywhere in the world, from a computer, from a device. That was revolutionary. And Tim Ferriss did a great job, with the 4-Hour Workweek. I don't know anybody who's only working 4 hours, but that was the concept, was to automate your business so you have the freedom to generate the revenue you want from anywhere you want, with very little, in some cases no overhead. That was a consciousness breaker. All of us were like, what? What a great idea. And why has nobody ever shared with us what is now so obvious to all of us? This is that book for the new generation. Monthly recurring revenue, subscriptions, what you see every business out there moving towards. Disney, HBO, all of these companies out there are working in different ways. We've featured a few of them in the past. Adidas now has clubs. Amazon has subscription boxes that you can get. There are companies like BarkBox and other internet companies that are unicorn, multi-billion dollar companies because they share products you can buy anywhere, drop ship to your house on a monthly basis. So you've got the convenience of not having to remember to go buy dog food, to buy pet toys, whatever your monthly subscription might be. It is a convenience. It is expected for most consumers most of the time to have that as an option. And for our profession to ignore the reality of what is going on in the business world is just not a good idea. So that is really our motivation, is to share with you the ideas. For those of you that go, I'm into it, I get it, this is awesome. Then you join us on our webinar afterwards to get more access to, some people are great readers, other people like to learn by video, by audio, some group or video training where you can hear us and you can connect with us. We've got a webinar that we're going to be doing for all of our readers coming up. And then for those of you that want to actually implement this, you want to do this and you want help from those that wrote the book on the topic, we'll be offering advanced training. So you are not alone. This is a journey that you can take, and you can do it with us. You can do it with other, basically, chiropractors who are building their payday practice as well. And together we can make a major movement, a major momentum shift in our profession for one specific reason. And that reason is for you to be able to practice with the freedom that you want to have. The collective benefit of happier, more successful, more generous, more honest chiropractors collectively sharing the truth about what you do, not just sharing what you need to say to somebody in pain to get them in, but sharing the truth about what you do, why you do it, why you're unique and different than the others, and have the patience and confidence to not have to be so desperate that you'll change your message, you'll manipulate your message to be able to make sure that whoever you're talking to gets in the office, whether they're your ideal client or not. For many of you, your ideal client has become somebody who's been in a car accident, somebody who's got really great insurance benefits. That shouldn't be the criteria for your ideal client for most cases, most of the time. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that money shouldn't be the driver as to who is the person you most want to take care of, is the person with the most generous benefits. And unfortunately, that for many of you is what it's become. Become the chiropractor you always dreamed of becoming. Think about when you first chose or decided to go to chiropractic school, that crazy moment. You're like, I'm in, I'm going, I'm doing it. I'm going to take 4 years of my life. I'm going to go a couple $100,000 in debt and then start in 3, 4, 5 years from now from scratch. That's a pretty crazy idea. And there was something, there was an idea, there was something you learned, there was a feeling you had in your heart that said, I'm doing that. That's what I'm dedicating my life to do. And yet for many, it's a financial struggle. Let's eliminate the financial stress so that you can be the chiropractor you've always dreamed of.
Thank you so much for watching this video on the Smart Chiropractor. To not miss a single thing that's clinically oriented, marketing oriented, or more, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel today.